Good evening. Should I say good evening, all you cats and kittens? No, maybe not. Uh, what was it?
Too soon.
What
Too
was it?
soon.
What was it? She used to say. What was it? The woman from Tiger
What's
King used
up,
to
all you
say.
cool cats and kittens?
That's it. What's up, all you cool cats and kittens? Yeah. What's up, all you cool cats and kittens? It's been a rough couple of years for cats. Let's be honest. But good evening. Welcome to American Hammers TV, part of the American Hammers Network. I see the chat room is filling in nicely. Um, we've got Cameron with us tonight. I remember where you live, Cameron. I can never remember. I'm so sorry.
Richmond, Virginia.
I knew it was. I knew it was with us on the East Coast somewhere. Cameron down in Richmond, and then Lucas, who's got Pittsburgh roots, but he lives in Maryland. So you guys are both sort of mid-Atlantic. You're not even that far from each other, really.
I think Richmond's like like 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
Two?
something like that. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it's just down the coast, really. That's not too far. So we might have a couple of other people join us. We might not. Who knows? Who knows? But we're gonna have a nice chat. As I say every week, if you would help us out by liking and subscribing, that'd be helpful. Helps us keep the lights on, keep our StreamYard system that we use to do the webcasting here. And if you would go to ahtv.threadless.com. You can get some West Ham stuff, some American Hammers TV stuff. You can get stuff from your supporters groups in your local area. Don't know if there's one from Richmond or not, Cameron, but and I have a Merrimack Valley shirt that I need to replace because I've worn it out. I've worn it too many times. There's Boston, there's Toronto, there's wherever you are in the U.S. and some across the world as well, Chile and other places like that. So you kids starting already. It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough. And there's Neil. Thankfully, has decided to forego the feline references. Yeah. So anyway, that's the stuff we always start off with. We're glad you're here on a Wednesday night. We try to do these shows on Wednesday nights. I haven't done one in a long time, but anyway, try to do one. So, what can you say about this past week, except that we started? I'll tell you what I found really funny. If you guys don't mind me saying this,
I love a good joke.
Well, it's not really a joke. It's more of an observation. I do that observational humor, like Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah.
A lot of observational stuff, So I went. I was on Twitter, obviously, earlier this week, and the big concern was that Zouma was injured after the near disaster against Kidderminster, and of course he isn't, and there was this weird sort of Venn diagram in time where you had the cat news coming out, but then you had people coming on Twitter who hadn't heard the cat news, and they were like, "Great news about Zouma." And everybody else is like, "What's wrong with you? You're a beast. You're a horrible human being." I'm just saying, he's not injured. So there was a fun little time when not everybody was up to date, and people were saying like, "Great news about Zouma," and people saying, "No, Zouma is, must immediately burn in hell." So it was a real. It was a real day of supporting West Ham that day, let me tell you. Oh, no, he did. Oh, look at this. Look at this.
Oh.
That's terrible. That's terrible. This is worse, actually. That's not even a cat
shit out of Kitty the wrong way.
That's not even a cat joke. Yeah, Kitty. Well, Kidderminster. It is Kidderminster, right?
Yeah.
Oh, now I get it. Well, now it makes sense. A kitty. Okay, I'm not sure I get that, but I think I get it.
Terrible autocorrect moment.
I think I understand what he's trying to do there. I guess we have to talk about Kurt Zouma. I don't think we can not talk about him. We want to talk about Watford. We talk about Leicester and even Kidderminster, which I realized I didn't say this on this channel. I did a show with Justin from Hammers Polls on Sunday afternoon, and he was nice enough to have me on. And I said this to him. I read last week that a sixth division club, which is where Kidderminster are, they're in the National League North, a sixth division club has never beaten a top flight club in the history of the FA Cup. 100 and however many years it's been around. There's been big upsets, memorable matches, magic of the cup and all that. A sixth division club has never beaten a top flight club. We were seconds away from being another trivia
And
question.
they would have been the first ever non-league team to make it to the 4th round of the FA Cup twice.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that. That's interesting. Yeah. Oh, she's okay. I don't know the significance of this either, John. I apologize. I'm not really sure why this makes a difference. But anyway, juggling. I don't really think
No,
they were
that was
juggling.
bats.
I was going to say, I don't think they were juggling them, and I don't think it was cats. I think it was chowing down on some bats. Oh, Wigan's a rugby town. Well, I actually like rugby, although I think Wigan's very big into the rugby league, if I'm not mistaken, which is the bastard version of rugby, as we all know. Anyway, I'll tell you how I feel about Kurt Zouma, and this is, I'll give you to in the most succinct way I can, because I've been thinking about this a lot. There are several things that stand out to me. First of all, obviously, what he did in that video crossed a threshold for me. It was cruel. It was certainly unnecessary. It was shocking. So yeah, I was shocked and disappointed by it. I was. And I think most people who saw it were. I don't know. I know this is going to sound weird. I'm not sure he really understood how cruel he was being. Unless the guy is some sort of psychopath, and maybe he is. He's got his brother filming it. He's got his kid there. I don't think he thought he was being that mean to the cat. I know that sounds weird.
I don't think he knows he was being filmed.
Well,
maybe,
but it was his
maybe,
brother.
Maybe
it was his brother, and his brother's got emojis and stuff going, and he's typing commentary in French underneath. I mean, if he didn't know he was being filmed, I mean, the guy was right there.
Well, when you're in the moment of anger, I guess.
But the thing is, do you think he was really angry, or was he just kind of screwing around with it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell. I mean, if you have somebody filming you, and didn't his brother put it on Instagram? Isn't that how it got out? I mean, didn't somebody from the Sun?
It was on Snapchat, I think, but
okay.
I'm not sure how it.
He put it on some form of he put it on some form of social media. So yes, I know it sounds ridiculous, and I'm not excusing him. Okay, I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying I didn't get the feeling that he actually understood why people got so upset about what he did. And that maybe he doesn't think it's a big deal. Now, he should think it's a big deal, okay? I'm not excusing the behavior. I'm just saying I don't feel as though it was like torture porn. I just don't think that's what he was after. So I think when it exploded, he was shocked. He came out and he said, my cats are really well cared for. We love our cats. You know, to which everybody replied, I'm not sure.
It's a weird.
Not sure you're demonstrating that. You know,
it's a weird line because I know, like, I don't want to say most of the world, but like, there's just some countries that like they just look at pets and animals way differently than, say, us. And
well, I was going to say the same thing. I was curious. And I went on L'Equipe, which is the biggest sports publication in France. And I was looking at some of the commentary in some of the stories about Zouma. And to be fair, they were pretty upset about it too. There were people calling him to be dropped from the French national team. There were people calling him for him to go to prison. There was the same kind of reaction that you got largely from Anglophone Twitter. There were a couple of people who said, you know, he's just disciplining the cat the way you discipline an animal. And I know, as weird as this is to say, when I lived in France, I saw people. I didn't see a lot of cats. There were dog people, almost entirely dog people. But they don't treat dogs the way we treat dogs. I'm not saying they're cruel to them necessarily, but they're definitely a little rougher with them. And I don't mean rough as that's not meant to be a pun. They're a little but they are. They're a little like they're more likely to jerk the leash a little bit. And I'll tell you what they really don't do. They don't cuddle, snuggle them the way we do. They don't cuckoo up to it.
It feels like they're, how do I put this? I guess I don't want to say a commodity, but like,
no, that's exactly what they are. If you dude, dial in, bro. It's not too late. Come on. We got long way to go here. That's Twami, our buddy Twam. All right, Tim. It's good seeing you. Thanks for dropping a couple of puns on us. Now, you don't French people with their dog. The dog is incidental. It's not like they're not out preening around with the dog like Americans walk dogs, and we love our dogs, right? And people come up and they interact with the dog, and you talk. There's a whole thing. If you do that in France, they don't know what you're doing.
They're
why
they're they're a member of the family here, UK.
Yes.
I mean, I don't want to speak for any like other countries or anything. All I know for a fact is that there's a minority of countries, technically minority countries, that they just do not treat pets the same as us.
They don't.
Which is weird to us.
And the attitude toward animals in general is different. Yes.
So the thing
but I'm not
got
excusing
me,
him. I'm not excusing him. All right. I don't want people to think that. I don't want people to think that. Anyway, go ahead, Cameron.
Oh no, exactly. And I mean, what he did was completely inexcusable. But I mean, just it seemed like people were trying to outrage each other.
I was just going to get to that.
And
go ahead.
I saw I forget, it was on Reddit or something, I think, but it was a comment that Kurt Zouma is a psychopath, and I want to see him torn apart by a tiger, which is in itself a psychopathic statement because you're wanting to watch somebody in
real quick.
Can
I just mention the irony of all this is that Kurt Zouma donates to big cat charities and shelters or whatever.
Well,
so my take real quick before Cam moves on. I think because before all this happened, we all look at Kurt Zouma. He's bubbly, smiley, seems like a really, really nice guy. And we don't really know when this video was taken. He could have been at Everton. He could have been at Chelsea. He could have been with us. Yada, yada, yada. He says it was a one-time thing.
Oh, I thought it was recent. It wasn't recent?
We don't know.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
And plus, the video they showed, the quality was absolutely terrible. So
what I'm wondering is when Zouma had COVID and we kept expecting him to come back and then he wouldn't come back, I'm wondering if it was then.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. You just the shirt on the bedroom floor, though, right? Okay. Do you need Lucas in it, or are you fine with just the shirt? I just want to clear that up. I'm not sure what's going on. Hey, Gary. No, I was under the impression this was from like the other day, but maybe. I don't. Again,
That looked like an Android recording that thing.
Before we go, well, no, there's nothing wrong with an Android phone. Come on now, some of us don't spring for the iPhone.
2022.
Some of us are a little more frugal than others, right? Some of us like our videos to look like television from the 80s. That's what I'm used to. So I would say this. I would not have played him against Watford. No, I wouldn't have.
Sorry, I just saw Tom's comment.
Oh. Well. Okay. Oh, wait, I missed this part. Hang on. Let's go back to the top. Okay. Yeah. Good. I'm sure you can facilitate all that at some point. Yeah. Hey, Budgie. So here's what I would say. I wouldn't have played against Watford. All right. And I think I have read, although it may not be true, I've read he's suspended for the Leicester game. But then I've also read that that's not true. So I'm not sure. I wouldn't have played him against Watford. I think that was a bad choice on the part of the club. I think it's just possible that he really didn't understand how big of an uproar he was going to cause. Everybody has a threshold for what constitutes animal cruelty. All right. What he did was over my threshold. It was over the threshold of most people I know. It was over the threshold of most people I've seen on the internet, in English and French both. Right. It was over that threshold. And it was disturbing. It was disturbing. But you know as well as I do that there are hundreds of millions of people, or maybe more, in the world who
do worse.
Well, not only who do worse, but yeah, that's true. But who find me disgusting because I eat meat.
Yeah.
Because I had chicken nachos today for lunch. And by the way, I know these people personally. I'm not just talking about people. I'm not, obviously they're if you're of Hindu faith, that's a big part of the faith. In some cases, but I'm talking about I know conscientious vegans who aren't even all that religious, who just They just don't like the fact that people eat meat. So they would look at me eating chicken nachos or a hamburger with at least as much disdain as we look at Kurt Zouma. So it's all on a scale. Do you know what I mean? And I'm
Yeah.
just wondering if his scale, it just gets tripped further along the line than ours does. Because I don't think he thought he did anything wrong. So he's had his cats taken away, and that's probably appropriate, to be honest. I mean, if he really doesn't know how to, if he doesn't know how to treat him better than that, he shouldn't.
And
have him.
I think the UK law or I think it's UK law. I think he's gonna have like a 4-year ban or suspension on owning another animal again or something like that.
I don't have a problem with that at all. I
Yeah.
don't. I think that's appropriate. If he thinks he can treat animals that way and that's normal to him, he needs to learn how to treat animals better. He does. He does.
So the thing I found interesting was the RSPCA tweet about it, or Instagram post or whatever it was, where they were like, hey, yeah, we're aware of the viral video. We've been dealing with this since before the video came out. He surrendered the animals. They're in our care. Like, we're dealing with it.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird
too. Dealing with it before the video came out tells me that this may have been going on for a bit.
I doubt.
Yeah.
I doubt it was a one-time thing. Frankly, people who are cruel.
Well, no. So I don't mean it that way. Like, I mean, it
regular basis. Yeah.
I don't mean it like it may have been a repeat occurrence or something like that. I mean, like, they found out about this event and this video happening well before it was released publicly. And what happened is somebody on his brother.
Somebody leaked it.
Yeah.
Somebody leaked it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody
sold it to the Sun for a bunch of money.
Because that's how.
And again, we have zero clue on when this took place.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely, and which is
because for all we know, he could have seen that video and be like, okay, this isn't good. I'm going to do better, and he could be doing better currently, but because that video
we're going
is
to,
out,
but don't worry, we're going to. Okay, we're not going to dwell on this forever. I promise. We're not going to dwell on this forever.
So
anyway, go ahead.
The point that I was trying to make is this may have been like settled matter more or less as far as the club was concerned. Like, they may have had this dealt with. He may have paid that fine a good long time ago. He may have surrendered those cats a good long time ago, and their point on playing him is like, hey, like we've dealt with this.
We've dealt with this.
He's going to play.
Which is basically what Moyes said. He said we're going to deal with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of different angles. Like, me personally, I'll give my overall opinion when we wrap up, but the way I took it when I saw, I mean, let's be honest, when we saw the lineup and Zouma was in there, I would say 90% of everybody was like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Or wow.
Oh, yeah. But it was a shock. I mean, it definitely gave you pause for thought.
After I heard what Moyes said, his statement, how like he apologized, he was sincere, yada yada. Moyes, in my opinion, is the type of guy, like, he's a stone cold guy after putting him in the lineup, but not necessarily bad in my opinion. I feel like if Moyes is the type of I call him a mafia boss. Like, if he can see through the bullshit. He can see through you. If you're not genuine, you're not genuine. And I have a feeling that Kurt Zouma was very remorseful for what happened, and his apology was sincere enough that Moyes was like, okay, I'm gonna play you because Diop shit. And
well, David Moyes. Let me say this about Moyes. David Moyes made a football decision. Right, because David Moyes is judged on one thing, and that's his record, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's it. This is not a college sport or high school sport where you're molding young men and all. It's not. This is a professional sport on a global stage.
You're paid on results.
And all that men. I promise you, nobody will be talking. People will remember Zouma as a cat kicker. Don't get me wrong, but as a story, this will be gone in a week to 2 weeks. It'll be gone. Something else will replace
win Europa League.
Well, listen, he'll if he doesn't play against Leicester, all right, he will have been fined. He will have surrendered his cats, and he will have had a game suspension. And that actually seems like a pretty appropriate punishment, to be honest.
And he's fully cooperating with authorities.
And he's fully cooperating, right? And he apologized.
I mean, that's part of my thing is,
he did everything he was supposed to do.
He seems genuine because, I mean, he accepted the fine, no questions asked. Like, I mean, he's done everything.
It wasn't a small fine either.
Yeah, he's been like, you know what?
It's $250,000.
I was wrong. Like, I'll cooperate 100%. So, I mean,
that
the cynical me says that like that's just a PR move, but I also like I loved Kurt Zouma before all this
I think he's
came out.
I think he's
So,
genuine.
yeah,
I
exactly. I'm willing to give him the benefit
and
of the doubt
I'm
that
such
he's
a
doing this out of the bottom of his heart.
I'm such a beta male. I always give everyone the benefit of the doubt, and I think people can always turn good. I have no backbone. It's cool. I've
I'm not
accepted
even
it.
beta. I'm way down the alphabet from beta. I'm the same. No, I know how you feel. Neil is no. I could tell Neil is very upset about this, and I think it's reasonable to be very upset about this. And
I mean,
again,
that's like that's got to be almost $400,000 U.S. currency, right?
well, I mean, on the other hand, it's 2 weeks' pay, which, I mean, it's a 38-week season, so apply. In fact, that's only in the league. It's what
And
40, 50 weeks, whatever it
apparently
is.
that's the maximum too that
So
they
I've
could have
heard.
done.
So I've heard. I think I would not have played him against Watford. I think the club should have stepped in and said no. It's I mean, I give David Moyes a lot of room to operate because of the work he's done for us in the circumstances he's working in. And maybe I give him too much. All right. Maybe I give him too much. But
it's a lot of dough, man.
David Moyes gets judged on his record. The fans, the board, everybody, the players, incoming recruits. Nobody's going to look at him and say, well, I want to go play for West Ham. I'm going to sign for West Ham in the summer because David Moyes suspended Kurt Zouma for the Watford game. No, they're going to look at us and they're going to say, are they in Europa League? Are they in Champions League? How did they perform in Europa League? Did they win the FA Cup? They're going to look.
I mean,
everybody's going to
you
look at
see it all the
based on that
time
stuff alone.
in U.S. sports where there's a bunch of players that
Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's running. He's a convicted domestic abuser,
and he's getting paid playing,
and he's getting paid,
which morally, ethically isn't right. But again, this is professional sports. You're paid for results. I would say
professional sport.
I would say my overall opinion on all of it. I think, while obviously I don't condone what he did at all. I'm a proud dog lover. I love my little Bubby. I love him.
Yeah.
I think it was completely blown out of proportion. And I do agree that in a PR wise, obviously starting him on Tuesday was quite a shock. But again, it's professional sports, and there was two paths on how this was going to go down. He was either going to not play, and then hopefully, like after the game, there's a statement saying he's going to do this, this, and that, yada yada yada, or he was going to play. And the first step into not winning the people back, but proving, I guess, that he's going to do the right thing. He's going to put in a good performance, which he did. He has gone. He got fined. That money's going to a charity organization, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And he could possibly be suspended on Sunday. If he's suspended on Sunday, me personally, I think that's just like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but I think it was completely blown out of proportion, and the hypocrisy from
that's the other thing.
Every single aspect of anything has been ridiculous. I'll wrap it up real quick. Like,
no, keep going. We got
like
time.
Trevor Sinclair, what he said today was absolutely bang out of order.
Oh yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Jamie O'Hara, I mean, for the love of God, man. Like, what he said was absolutely just stupid. And then
Jamie O'Hara,
especially given the fact that he beat up a little kid. So.
I was going to say Jamie O'Hara punched a 14 or 16-year-old in the face. The reports differ, but it was a teenager.
And apparently hurt his partner.
Allegedly, and I believe the allegations, beat his partner pretty severely. Listen. This is another thing, and again,
you got another guy that's saying what he did was worse than racism.
Well, that's what. So Adidas dropped him from his contract, and I don't really have a problem with that. Okay, I don't think that's a bad thing to do. But when Luis Suarez was in a racism row, when he racially abused, I think it was Patrice Evra, if I'm not mistaken,
bit somebody.
And bit somebody, Adidas said, don't do that again. Bad boy, don't do that again.
And mind you, it was 2013, but still, like, you can apply that to today. Like, that's just
People were
not
aware
fair.
of racism in 2013. People knew in 2013 that racism existed.
And then
all those campaigns existed in 2013.
And then all the sponsor BS like Betway, Kiss-A-Me, that is a joke and a half.
And this is I'm with Neil on this. GSB should have been the ones to step up and say he's not going to play.
Exactly.
You cannot put Moyes in that situation. Moyes knew he had.
And the first thing I heard when I heard the club was going to handle it, I said, "Oh, that should be fun."
Right. I mean, it's not their place to pick the team, but it is their place to say he has violated our
code of conduct.
Code of conduct, exactly. And we are going to say, David Moyes, you cannot pick him. You can pick him next week or whenever we decide.
When I heard that the club is going to handle it, it is the same thing I thought when I hear transfers and negotiation. Oh boy, here we go.
Well, this is the other thing. This is the other thing that Rob brings up here. I think Kurt Zouma, what he did was disturbing and disgusting. I do, and possibly illegal. I don't know. I don't know if it's legal or not. Maybe. I think he should be punished. I did not think he should have played against Watford. I think it's appropriate that he's paying a fine. I think it's appropriate that he lost his pets. I think he needs, at the very least, some level of education. I do not want this guy just to walk away or write a check and be done with it. That's not what I'm asking for. Let me just say this, though, on the level of hypocrisy. That's a different topic altogether. All right. Who is this guy, Alonso, who killed
Marcos Alonso? He literally killed somebody.
Was drunk driving, going twice the speed limit, more than twice the speed limit, and killed a girl, killed a 22-year-old woman while he was drunk. He should still be in prison for that, by the way. You have a club that, and to be fair, I don't think Greenwood has played for Manchester United since the arrests.
No.
I don't think Mendy has played for Manchester City either. So you really can't blame the clubs on that front.
Mendy's in jail.
So. Well, Mendy, that's what I'm saying. The clubs didn't do anything wrong. That was the players.
Greenwood also hasn't put out a statement, just saying.
Well, that's because
he hasn't apologized. He hasn't said anything.
That's because he's guilty. You don't put out a statement when it could be used against you in court. I don't know how it works in the UK, but you remain silent here in the US. But point being, you have a club in Newcastle owned by probably the worst human rights abusers on the planet. You have a club in Chelsea owned by, first of all, Alonso, I believe, plays for Chelsea, does he not?
Yes.
So right there, you got a club that's playing somebody who's
been playing for years since it's happened.
He committed vehicular manslaughter, right? And it's owned by a Russian oligarch who enables a murderous dictator who is amassing troops to invade a sovereign country.
We also have a certain Premier League club owned by a certain group that has ties to certain politely bad people.
Well, you got Newcastle, and you have Manchester City owned by the Emiratis, who, I mean, whatever you think of them, and I think they're a lot worse than we know. At the very least, they're involved in the systemic oppression of women. At the very least, if not a whole lot more. But we know the Saudis are murderers,
and even David Sullivan, not good guy.
David Sullivan's a bad guy. David Sullivan is a man who exploited.
I know for a fact he's done things worse than what Kurt Zouma did.
Hey,
I know.
David Sullivan made his money as a pornographer, and it's not the objection to porn itself. It's the people who exploit women doing it. Do you know what I mean? He made his money exploiting women. His ex-wife committed suicide. I don't necessarily blame him for that, but I mean, I'm sure played a role in it. He started his fortune in a very exploitative and, quite frankly, very dirty business, and he's not a good guy. And I've never liked him as an owner. I've never liked him as a person.
And he's released stuff against other people's will.
And then none of these people have ever repented of any of this. They've never apologized for any of it. They've never said, "I'm sorry I did this. I don't do that anymore. I don't want that life anymore."
We can throw John Terry into that blender as well.
You can throw John Terry in there as well. Kurt Zouma, if nothing else, came out and said, "Man, I'm sorry." I think he needs to be punished. But these people who talked about he should never play for West Ham again, he should never play football again, that's nuts.
And I get it. And I get it because, like I said, the main countries like us,
exactly.
UK,
he did say that, by the way,
Canada, like, I get it when people say that we value animals more than humans. Like, I get that, but like, if we're technically speaking, Like,
you know
it's a
what? We should,
little
if you want to value them equally, that's fine. But we
yes,
shouldn't value them more. Okay,
exactly.
I'm going to make that. I'm going to just go ahead and say that if we valued
Uh,
humans as much as we valued animals, we would have a more
that's
peaceful
just
world.
and like I said, as much as I love animals, that's just a cold
Yeah.
hard fact.
Well,
That's the reality.
the other thing is, I'm sorry, but you know, Kissimmee, Florida, is the one that really gets me. These guys have really been pissing me
Same.
off. They come out. First of all, they know nothing about football. They don't know anything about
They
anything.
just know Declan Rice likes to go there
I don't
every
want
other
to.
year.
I don't want to go on a big Florida rant. Okay, I could go on a big Florida rant, but let's put Florida aside for the moment. All right, it's bad enough that this is a town in Florida, but let's just put that aside because things are happening in Florida that are not great for human rights or civil rights. But forget about all that. Kiss Me Florida. Well, I think we should. Kiss Me Florida
Right.
sells tickets to SeaWorld, which has participated in well documented abuse of animals for decades. Very well documented abuse of animals for decades. That's one of their big things. Come stay in Kissimmee. Buy SeaWorld tickets through us through
And
the
have the
tourism
nerve to
agency
hit
in
the double
Kissimmee.
tweet. We are looking into it.
Oh,
We're done with you.
these guys, come on. The virtue signaling. What do they give us?
Not to
500
mention
pounds
that
a
their
year.
contract with us expires in 6 months, so it's
So
just a
who
giant
cares?
fucking PR
Yeah.
move. So
And then Betway, we could go on forever about that. That's just a
What
bunch
I
of
really
bullshit.
loved about the Kissimmee tweets was that everybody responded saying, "Who are you again?" it's not like people said, "Oh, we're losing this great sponsor."
And I
Everybody
would
was like,
say,
"I'm sorry, what? Who? Where are you? Huh? What?"
and
So
me personally, I would conclude my opinion on, even though none of us condone that type of stuff, I think it was blown completely out of proportion.
it might be Wally, but I'm just not even a Florida rant. Okay, forget about the
And
Florida part. Forget about
I
the Florida part.
think it would be I don't even want to use the word weirder because it's not the right word, but in my personal opinion, I feel like the harm has already been done. I don't think it's going to get better if you suspend Zouma for Sunday. If you were going to
Well,
do it,
I agree.
you do it
This was the time
Tuesday.
to do it. I think I really believe, and I can't remember who said it above.
And again, it says a lot when Diop is that bad.
Well,
Like,
really, what's the root of all this, right? What is that's awesome. What is that's great? I love that. But what's what's at the root of all this? What's at the root of all evil? Okay, the love of money is the root of all evil. But when West Ham, it's not the love of money; it's David Sullivan. It's the root of all evil. Because first of all, I actually happen to agree with Neil. I think that David Sullivan or Karen Brady, at least, who's supposed to handle this sort of thing, should have been the one to step in and say, look, he violated our club's code of conduct. We're going to suspend him. Don't put that on the manager. The manager has to pick him because he's the only option we have because Issa Diop has fallen off a cliff and we didn't buy anybody else in the January window, the transfer window. And hey, Scott. Oh, you know what? I'll tell you what. I meant to. This is, again, Neil, I'm with you on this. I really am.
funny thing that I thought about was, so if this situation came up on the UK Apprentice and Karen Brady was on the UK Apprentice as a contestant, she would have gotten fired for handling it like this.
Of course she would have. Yes. Of course she would have. She would have gotten fired and again, I think it's unfair to put it on David Moyes to make that decision. He makes football decisions, all right? I don't think it's even in his job description to make ethical decisions per se. He decides who are the best 11 players I have. Those are the 11 players I put out because that's how I get paid and that's how I get evaluated. And at the end of the season, when the fans judge me and the board judge me and potential recruits judge me, they judge me on what? They judge me on my record, not on did I start Kurt Zouma against Watford in February. So the club has to take control of this sort of thing, which you knew they wouldn't because they don't do that. They don't have any ethics either. Like David Sullivan is going to be our ethical guide, like our moral compass is David Sullivan or David Gold.
Then you just have David Gold. He's just marinating somewhere.
David Gold's mostly dead. Well, the Disney's a whole other thing. You could get into Disney too. Listen, Disney's had plenty of problems over the years. But Forget about all that, and just the
Yeah.
kissing me thing. And then there are there's this woman who used to work for Chelsea, this doctor. She comes out and says on Twitter, she says, if you support West Ham, breathlessly, if you support West Ham, you support animal cruelty. I mean, that's the most outrageous thing I've ever heard. So every Chelsea supporter supports
Vehicular manslaughter.
Right, or the Russian
Every
oligarchy.
Man United supporter supports.
Well, every Newcastle supporter supports political murders and widespread human rights abuses. I mean, I don't believe that. I wouldn't want the Saudis in my club, even for all the money. But I'm not going to look at a Newcastle supporter and say, oh, now you're a supporter of human rights abuse. That's just stupid. We don't control who our club signs. We don't control what these people do. And a lot of people were really outraged and still are outraged at Kurt Zouma. So it's not as though people are making excuses.
And
again,
it
hasn't been that way at all.
We've said it rightfully so. People should not only should they be upset, but they can be. It's their right
and they
to be
can
upset.
be, and they have been, and I think.
But
it's,
at the end of the day, there has been so many people and so many things worse than what he did that hasn't been blown out of proportion, and that's the problem.
That's the problem. The problem is people have gone way over the top with this thing. Way over the top with this thing. Punish him, fine him. I do agree he should not have played against Watford. Okay, I'm with everybody on that. All right. I think he needed to suffer more consequences than he did. But this business of let's end his career, I don't think it rises to that level. I'm sorry, I just don't.
No, not even close.
Not even close. You telling me that you can? You telling me that you can get guys who are, again, have literally killed people? We don't care about them playing. That's fine. But a guy who mistreated his cats.
You got racists, woman beaters,
you got
people that assault others.
Well, you remember a lot. Let me tell you something. A lot of West Ham fans have wanted Lee Boyer back. Well, he's too old now, but they wanted Lee Boyer back for a long time. He didn't have such a great history either. You've got people who assault other people. You got racists. You got some very bad actors, some bad characters.
I'll be right back, guys.
Sure, but with them, it's like, well, give them another chance, or you have to hear both sides of the story. I mean,
it's hard to condense it all because, like me personally, I'm such an opinionated guy. I've got so much to say, but I think it was so blown out of proportion. There's been so many people that are currently playing and are done playing that have done much worse. Nothing has happened.
Players,
in the slightest.
Owners, investors. I mean, all these people. Yes, I agree with you, Neil. I think you suspend. Look, you suspend him, and maybe we don't beat Watford if we suspend him. All right, I don't know if we stick Issa Diop in there. I mean, Zouma had a great game.
And I get like the whole the moral decisions, ethics, yada yada.
That's true, Wally. That's very true. Michael Vick was a different. He was killing those dogs.
It's just a bunch of like Budgie just said. It's a bunch of double standards going on.
Of double standards. One thing I'll say though, whatever decisions you make in life, don't mess with pets.
And in my opinion, this is the last thing.
You shouldn't mess with pets, okay? You shouldn't be cruel to animals.
This is the last thing I'll say.
But it'll also get you into more trouble than being cruel to people will. That's all. This
will be my last thing I say about the
No, keep going. You got
No.
Yeah.
Because
we want to talk about the football too. I know.
Yeah, we should move on, but like
I know
we wrap this one up with
almost 40 minutes.
Unless you have murdered someone or raped somebody, in my opinion, I think you deserve a second chance at redeeming yourself for whatever you've done.
Way. Listen,
even if you are racist, I think you can come back and be a decent human.
I do too. I think
there's counseling and stuff for that.
I think and people talk about, this is what's so funny to me is people rail against cancel culture. I'm not a fan of cancel culture either, but saying that
absolutely not, Scott.
You know what's funny? There was an article in CNN about it.
Was it
not? Yeah, there was. Yeah, there was. But you know what? It hasn't made a lot of. It's not like they're talking about an ESPN, Scott. That they don't care that much. There are some things that cross the line. Sexual assault, murder, anything involving a child, basically. That stuff, you really shouldn't come back from that.
Off limits.
Right? But I do think people can redeem themselves, and I think they do all the time. And I know that I've done things that I've regretted, and I've had to redeem myself with people.
I was a bully in first grade.
You were not.
I swear.
Were you?
Yeah, and
Oh, terror!
I still feel
Terror on the
terrible about it
playground.
to this day.
The terror on the playground. And now Ken's texting me pictures of his new puppy. He was so cute.
Well,
I don't know
and
why
so
he's doing that. I don't know if he's doing that. I don't know, but anyway, he's got an adorable little new puppy. But I got to go see him up at his house here pretty soon. Anyway, yes, I
and
think you
I'm
could.
gonna sorry, go ahead, Lee.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I've been talking too much. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and like before we move on, like the one thing I'll say is like at this point, all I want to see is I want to see clear, consistent communication from Kurt. That was really good, the alliteration, by the way.
Yes, it was. I was
About
very
what
impressed by that,
he's
actually.
doing and what he's doing to be better and
Yeah, I
atone
agree.
for the situation. Like, if he does that, then I will accept him back and I'll be happy to see him keep playing for us and everything. I'm a huge supporter of like kind of like rehabilitative punishment, for lack of a
I am
better
too.
term. And so, like, if he does that, then to me, I'm good with that.
To me, it's about repentance, and I know.
And then if he fucks up again, that's when you're out
Right,
the door.
exactly.
Not 3 strikes, you're out 2 strikes.
It's about repentance, and it's about, because I do think there is some level of education that he needs to receive here. I don't think he's just a psychopath. If he is, he needs to go.
He's
right?
doing a great job of covering up.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he is. I think he didn't understand that he was doing something that most people would find unacceptable or that was cruel. I just oh, okay, hang on a second. We're gonna get a hang on. We're gonna sorry. I'm gonna you can look at my sponsorship. By the way, we're sponsored by gambling organizations, and while there's nothing inherently wrong with gambling in and of itself, it certainly brings problems to a lot of people. So another sort of ethical issue there. You know what I mean? They certainly want you to spend all your money gambling, which is, often a good way to lose money. There's Ken's puppy. Look at that. Oh, what a cutie. Let's get a close up. Oh my goodness. Oh, look at that. What a sweet little dog. See what I'm doing though? In France, they don't do that. They don't coo over the dog. They're just like, oh yeah, dog. It's just here, it's just there. You know what I mean? It's just there.
Yeah,
But look at that little baby dog. Oh my goodness.
That's just life. That's life.
It's just part of life. But I do coo over dogs. I would have a pet if I could. I'm allergic to dogs and cats both, and so is my mother, and so is my older son. And we just can't have him in the house full time. But if
Looks
I would,
like you're gonna have to get a lizard or something.
We've thought about a lizard, but you got to feed those things like live mice. You feed them mice.
Oh, okay.
And like nobody in the house wants to do that. So we've had a lot of debate as to like what kind of pet do we get? Do we get like a lizard, but you got to feed them like live? So you get like any reptile, you have to feed like live mice or frozen mice. And I don't know, it's just
never mind. Don't blame me.
The small ones, you only have to feed them crickets. Just saying.
Are they dead or are they alive?
I mean, like it's literally like you can go to
the crickets.
and get like a little container of crickets, and then you just dump them in there, and the lizard's good for like a week and a half.
Oakley, there you go, Oakley. Beautiful little dog. Beautiful little dog. If I have a cricket get into my house, I will freak out. I do not like crickets.
Don't do a lizard then.
At all. Crickets. When I was living in Fort Worth in those cheap apartments when I was in college, man, those things were inundated with crickets. And I'm telling you, like, I chased them, I trapped, they chirped all the time. Just absolutely drove me up a wall. But yeah, so get a pet rock. While he was old enough to remember this sort of thing, when they really were, they existed, as get a pet rock. We've had a lot of discussions about pets, and my boys want something cuddly, but I keep saying, but if you get something cuddly, you're going to be allergic to it. At least the older one will. You can't cut, you know what I mean? It's not gonna work. Anyway, but I do like little animals, and I think we all do. I think Zouma needs some education. I hope he does, because if he really is a psychopath, let him go. Seriously, I don't think he is. Shouldn't have played against Watford. That was a mistake. Leicester are in terrible form. Maybe we're okay if we don't play him against Leicester. They're leaking goals at the moment. Fine him, give him his public flogging. Suspend him for a game,
and that's the thing too. He'll get that. He'll get it the rest of maybe not the rest of the season, but he'll have like a nice little 3-4 match stretch where he'll get his stick.
Yeah, well, he got it.
I'm happy though that
Good.
Tuesday. I'm happy
Yeah.
Tuesday though that we made it about Isla and not that.
He got it at home. Oh, this is that's funny. DJ's still around, huh? Okay, yeah. Is it DJ? DJ's still around, right? That's the other dog, other little dog. Good dogs, always fun. I take my boys up there when we watch the game sometimes, and the boys like to play with the dogs. Yeah. Well, listen, and I don't want to, not talk about Isla. Obviously, the real sort of travesty was that the game wasn't about her when it should have been about her. I do think the tribute to her was lovely and very appropriate. And I know her mother sent a nice message on Twitter. I just can't imagine how that family's struggling. I have 2 kids, and my younger son is 8. I think Isla was 7. My wife and I have just been devastated by this, to be honest. So, but
yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure. I mean, I've got my first one on the way. So
yes,
and it's I've got my first little girl on the way. So yeah, I mean, just that whole thing is just like, I mean, it hits home real hard. So
it hit me very hard. It did. But going back to what we were talking, and we could maybe wrap this up. I'm a believer in repentance. It's kind of a religious thing in a way, but I do think that if you say, I did it, I'm sorry I did it, I don't want to do it anymore, I'm not going to do it anymore, and you stick to it, again, unless you committed a really heinous crime, I think you should get another chance. And I would say that of a lot of different things, because everybody, whether we broke the law or not, we've all done something wrong. We've all done something that we shouldn't have done. We've all hurt somebody else in some way, or done something we regret, and we've all had to come back from that and say, you know what, I'm not doing that again, because my conscience is getting to me. I'm not doing that again. So I think if Kurt Zouma can deliver that, then we let him move on. The whole thing about ending it doesn't rise to the level of ending his career.
And the only thing that matters is what we think at the end of the day.
Well,
no, like as West Ham is what I'm saying. Like,
no, actually, that's kind of true.
Like, I don't care. Like, I don't care if he gets booed. I only really care if he gets booed by us. I only care what Moyes thinks, what the dressing room thinks.
Yeah.
Fuck everyone else. I don't give a shit.
I don't care about anybody else either. I really don't. I never have, and I still don't. All right. Well, let's talk about this last couple of games, and if you guys are up for that. Again, we almost made history against Kidderminster.
They literally almost ruined my birthday weekend.
I think my favorite tweet that I saw about it was fake Carlton being like, oh, now I really understand like the whole Russia situation right now, because after watching Yarmolenko, I too want to commit war crimes against Ukraine.
I mean, fair enough. At Beach, fair enough, Yeah, I know the feeling, Gary. I know the feeling. No, I mean, it's funny that we got past Kidderminster. We went out and got 3 more points against Watford. We have 40 points on the season, and it's the middle of February.
We finally made it.
Well, keep in mind that 43 is our true number for safety, because we went down on 42 in 2003. So I keep telling people this, people forget, but we're not in a relegation battle, right? Okay, let's be honest. These last 2 seasons have been incredible, and even if we finish this season 8th or 9th or 10th, which we still might, that's pretty good for us. We shouldn't forget, for West Ham, that's a pretty good finish. Now, maybe it doesn't keep Declan Rice and Jared Bowen. I mean, I understand the concerns here, but some of our supporters, at least online, and I know that doesn't represent real people, those are just Twitter personas, but some of our supporters are starting to act as though we're Manchester City or Chelsea, and we're supposed to finish top 4 every season. We're supposed to win every match. And I was thrilled that we beat Watford. I'm always thrilled when we win. Every time we win, it's a big deal.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's a big deal. I'm not one of these people. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, the performance was bad and I'm disappointed. Yeah, the performance was bad, but I'm not disappointed.
It's fucking shit.
Because we won. It was terrible. But you know what? We won when we were bad, and that's not something we've done in the past.
The old West Ham loses that. Not even draw.
Oh, yeah.
We lose it.
West Ham collapses. I mean, the old West Ham collapses under the Zuma
Yes,
thing.
Budgie.
You know, I mean, Budgie. First of all, God bless you. I'm sorry to hear that. Secondly, Isla's mother, for the amount of public speaking she's done, has just been exceptional, in my opinion. She's just been brave and strong. She doesn't owe us anything. She doesn't owe us anything at all. You know what I mean? She could be totally private, not say a word to anybody, and that would be okay. But I think she's wanted to. Thank you, Peach. I think she's wanted to, communicate with what she considers her family, and I appreciate that.
Mhm.
That means a lot to
Yeah.
all of us. Isla had a gorgeous, funeral. She had a wonderful ceremony at the match, and I know they're going to take some of the money they collected and they're going to put it toward causes that battle childhood cancer. And I don't care what they do with it. I don't care if they go. I don't. They do with it whatever they want. It doesn't matter to me at all. I didn't donate to them, because I wanted to see the money go to a particular place or cause. I just wanted to help.
Yeah.
But I know that they're also going to be charitable because they're good. They're good people who who want to do good things. Yeah, well, this, yeah. I guess what bothers me a little bit. Okay, so Kidderminster was almost a disaster, but it wasn't a disaster. I said to Ken after the game, I was texting him. I said, now I don't have to hate Kidderminster forever. I can sort of begrudgingly respect and like them now, instead of hating them forever, like Oxford United. We avoided a disaster. That's not a very West Ham thing to do. We have Watford with a huge scandal breaking right in the middle of it. And again, I think it was wrong to play Zouma, but let's put that aside. We have a wounded animal come in. All right, Watford, they need points. They're desperate. They've got a new manager. I know it's Roy Hodgson, and I can't imagine he gives you much of a bump. But anyway, the new manager bump is always a thing. They come in desperate for points.
I mean, and they played really, really good.
They outplayed us
really
at least in the
good.
first half. They were the better side in the first half, very clearly.
I think they outplayed us literally until the Lanzini sub. Honestly.
I do too. I think Lanzini made a gigantic difference when he came on, and it's a little worrying how much of a difference he actually made. Because Benrahma has not looked great. Antonio, again, goes off and plays for Jamaica, who, by the way, are eliminated from World Cup qualifying. All right, so I can't imagine him playing for them again. I don't see why he would. I mean, that would make no sense to me. They were never going to make it anyway. I'm sorry, they never had a chance. But they are officially eliminated now. Antonio looks wiped, and I'm sure he is. The man always gives his full effort, all right, but he gets tired,
Yeah.
I mean, as anybody would. Benrahma hasn't looked particularly good. Cresswell struggled some, and I love Cresswell, but he struggled. Sufal is not really on form.
I said the other
Suchek
day.
is not on form.
The other day I thought we had some good individual performances because I did a rating show with Big Thieves, each one his own TV. Give it a subscribe.
By the way, who couldn't for like the first time ever? James couldn't do the show tonight. He's got something else to do, I guess. I don't know what he's doing.
But I said then I thought there was a good amount of individual performances, but like together it was complete shit. And I thought Cresswell wasn't that good. There was a lot of people that thought Sufal had a good game. I didn't think he was that good, to be honest. And then
I've seen a lot of negative reviews of him.
I would say Cresswell, Sufal.
Yeah.
And then
you think he was bad, Cameron?
The attacking third was trash.
Yeah.
I mean,
even Bowen was not that great.
Yeah.
I mean, Kufalo definitely wasn't up to his usual standard that we're used to, and he honestly hasn't been for a good bit now. But I mean, he still tracked back like an absolute machine. He still like hassled the like attackers. I mean, he did everything he was supposed to do. His balls into the box were not as good as they usually are.
Yeah.
I have a lot of time for Vlad. Like I love that dude.
I love him and Cresswell both, and I mean, the last two shirts I bought there have been a Sufal shirt and a Cresswell shirt. I mean, I love both of them.
I have my Sufal Europa League kit right in front of me. I can't reach it, but I see it.
I think.
I mean, I will say, like, the one performance that I think went really under the radar was Suchek.
I thought Suchek had I don't want to say a great game, but because again, like he offers what he offers. He's just a big giant. But I thought he had his best defensive game of the year.
Oh yeah, for
so
sure.
far.
Defensively, he was absolutely everywhere. Like, I mean, honestly, defensively, he almost like at least
and his
matched
passing
Rice.
was a lot better than what we've seen the past 2 months.
Yeah.
And we need him to be in form with Declan, who's always in form. I love Cresswell. I love Soufal. I think sometimes we have to separate effort from quality. Like, I don't see those guys, to me, always put the effort in. Even when Cresswell was struggling 2 seasons ago and everybody wanted him gone, and I was one of those people, I never questioned his effort. I just questioned his ability, whether he had any left. Well, he did, and he came. Moyes brought him back with the partnership with Masuaku, and then he kind of released him into the wild, and he's really been very good this season, most of last season too. But I don't think it's lack of. Same with Antonio. I don't think it's lack of effort. It's just they're either tired or they're going through
with Antonio, like it's just been so up and down. Like me personally, so player ratings was I gave Souček a 7 on Tuesday, and I gave Antonio again. He didn't play well, but there's a lot of like little things I noticed that like when he's having a bad game, he doesn't do them. But on Tuesday, he wasn't having a great game, but he was doing little things I noticed. Like, for example, I gave him a 6 out of 10 because I thought his positioning was a lot better than previously when he has really bad matches. Like Ben Rama, when he had the double chance to score, he could have played Antonio right in front of the goal. He was right there. Antonio made some smart runs into the box where crosses came in. And of course, he's going to give his all, but it is the only thing that bothers me. So I just hate seeing him out on the wing because every single time he tries to cross,
I know it's. I mean, we really just we talked about this a lot in the last couple of weeks. The lack of signings in January will hurt us badly, and I don't know when, but soon. Not signing a replacement or a backup for Antonio. We're thin, obviously, at left back. If anything happens to Cresswell again, we're very thin again at center back.
I gave Craig Dawson my man of the match personally.
I thought Craig Dawson was excellent, and maybe the best deal in world football over the last several years. What he cost us £2 million, £3 million, something like that. That's nothing. He's not even an academy player,
And he was already playing with a black eye. I love this guy.
The guy's so West Ham. He's just so. He's ballsy. He's tough. He's brave. I mean,
he's balding, but still has a faux hawk.
Exactly.
Love that.
He's old school. The guy should have played in the 80s. He's old school. So yeah, Dawson. I know he's not always the most skilled player, but again, a guy whose effort you never question.
He just fits Zouma though well.
That's the thing is when he's with Zouma, he's really good.
And I'm a firm believer in like each foundation of the field, like each sector. I think there should be one guy that has like really good skills, and then you got to have one that's just kind of like a no nonsense. He like sticks to what he's supposed to do. Like Kurt Zouma can do everything. Yep. He's a great all around center back. But then you pair him with Craig Dawson, who is just I'm going to clear the ball. I'm going to throw my body around.
It's like
and Dawson's passing on Tuesday was really really good. Like a complete 180 into what we're used to seeing.
Yeah. Yes, much better. Much better. I agree with that.
Dawson going back to
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, going back to Lanzini, one of the things that I have noticed is, I 100% get and even mostly agree with the calls for Lanzini to start. The thing that I've noticed is Lanzini, when he starts and is going up against defenders, it's defenders going like, oh, wow, this guy's a little bit crappy. I have to be really careful. And they figure out how to handle him. Yeah. Lanzini versus tired legs is defenders going like, oh, shit, fuck, what was
that's
that?
A good point.
I'm a firm believer in Lanzini always coming off the bench.
Yeah,
in the last 25,
he's
30
such
minutes.
a good sub.
I think he's well, used to, Antonio used to be the same way. You talk about him coming off the bench too, but can't do that anymore. I think Lanzini is better off the bench. The problem is, I mean, form wise, against Leicester, I think we might need him from the beginning. I'm a little bit worried about Benrahma. Of course, you have to ask yourself the question: if Zouma doesn't play, and I don't know if that's got to be the case or not, do we go with a back four? Do we revert back to a back five? Because obviously Diop is going to be a weakness at center back. Or do you?
I don't think we can go back five because Leicester are so poor and they leak so many goals. So from what I've heard and gathered, I think they've given up the third most goals this season, and
Yes.
they've given up the most set piece goals in the Prem this season. If we go to a back five, that's too negative.
No, I agree. We shouldn't tactically. I wouldn't do it. It's just the players we have available.
We would just need to revert back to a back four, and if things get sticky, Rice just has to sit back a little bit more than usual, and I think we'll be fine. But I don't want Lanzini starting that game because that is going to be a very back and forth counterattacking game, and Lanzini's going to get tired by the 50th minute, 55th minute.
But again, Lanzini at the 75th minute against a very, very tired Vestergaard and Soyuncu,
I would love that.
Pronounce his name. Like, I mean, he'll do bits. Like,
and Benrahma can't play. Benrahma can't be average forever. He's going to have a game where he breaks out.
Well, he has to. He really good. Now, he went off and played an AFCON.
And no better than Sunday against one of the worst defenses in the Prem.
And I think the trick that Moyes needs to do is he needs to figure out how to pretty much make Lanzini and Benrahma foils of each other, where if you do start Lanzini, you bring Benrahma on in the 75th minute, and he does the exact same thing that Lanzini would do in the 75th minute, where
Benrahma was doing that he was doing that in his first campaign with us when everyone was begging for him to start, but he was doing pretty well off the bench when he came in.
I mean, Leicester. If you look at Leicester, and I'm looking at
when Lingard was with us,
Leicester have missed a lot of games. First of all, presumably because of COVID, I guess. I mean, their last few games, they did beat Liverpool back at the end of December. They lost 6-3 to Manchester City on Boxing Day. That's tough. Beat Liverpool 1-0. They beat Watford 4-1 in the FA Cup. Last 3 games, though, 3-2 loss at home to Tottenham, 1-1 draw at home to Brighton. Well, we know how that feels. And then the one that really stands out is the FA Cup tie on Sunday, 4-1 to Nottingham Forest. 4-1 to Nottingham Forest.
And they played a strong team, Leicester.
Yeah, they wanted it. They've been giving up a lot of goals. And they're not in great form right now. Of course, that doesn't always mean anything. We have to go there, but we've actually played Leicester pretty well recently, I think. Of course, we always beat Southampton, and then this season we didn't beat them at all. So got them in the FA Cup coming up, but so form doesn't always mean anything. But yeah, I wouldn't want to. I don't want to play a back five. I think it's ridiculous to do that against Leicester. The question is, if we don't play Zouma and you have Dawson Diop in there, are you confident in that as our central defense?
I'll tell you this: if Diop starts and Zuma's suspended, it's going to be a 4-3 game. Like 4-3, we win.
Well,
7-goal thriller.
It might be. Do you think? There's the other question though. Can we score 3? I mean, we're not pumping them in right now. Yeah, listen. I mean, Bowen's in form, but Antonio's not, and
Leicester's defense is that bad though. Like this is the thing. They're Leicester is no Norwich, Watford, Burnley. Like they're not packing it in. They're not parking the bus and packing it in. Like
no, that's true. That's
Leicester
are
counterattacking, pressing, and they leak so many goals. And I think
so for how absurdly slow their back line is, they play a really high line.
Yeah.
I think
so.
That,
I mean, honestly, like if there's a game for Antonio to get back on form and like knock in a hat trick, like
for everyone,
this is the one.
I think we match up well against them, and we always have, or we have recently, and we've had success against them recently. The only real concern I have is, does Antonio have a goal in him? I think Bowen is in good form, but we need Antonio. We need presumably Fornals or Benrahma to be in attacking form, and they just kind of haven't been recently. So That's my only concern is do we have the 2 or 3 goals in us to make up for Dawson and Diop playing at the back together, or for Diop being in there at all?
In a game like this, I would say yes, but like when you talk like the teams I just said, like Budgie,
Yes.
I will talk to you about that
Anytime.
tomorrow.
Yeah, just let me know. Just you know what? I'll tell you what, Budgie. Send me. I don't know if you're on Twitter, but you can send me a message on Twitter. At least from
Yes.
AHN. That's maybe the best way to do it. Or yeah, sure.
And
Anytime.
I've been a firm believer in saying that like I love Fornals more than anybody. Like I've tweeted multiple occasions I'd die for him, and I truly mean that. I love the guy that much.
I love Fornals too.
I've
I love
always said
Antonio.
that there's just certain like matches and clubs like I just don't think is like Fornals' game. Like for
Yeah.
example, the Watford match in principle, like it shouldn't really be that big of a difference if we start him or not because Watford are poor.
Right.
But when
Right.
like Fornals is never at his best when the defense is packing it in and we're dominating possession. You know what I mean?
No, I agree with that.
But like Leicester,
yeah.
that's a game I want to see him in because he's going to work
his
hard.
balls in behind and like some of his passing, like I mean, against Kidderminster, like his pass to Declan Rice was like just absolutely sublime.
Gorgeous pass, and then his
that's what we need
celebration
to do
was
versus
even
Leicester
better.
against 2 very slow center backs.
No, I love the matchup with Leicester. I do. I mean, I love how we line up against Leicester.
It's going to be a 7-goal thriller, I'm telling you.
Well, I'm not sure I can take
Hammer
that.
the over.
I'm not sure I can take that if it is, but it may be. Yeah, I mean, well, this is another thing that I was thinking, Neil, is that Fornals is a serviceable defensive player on the left.
Mm-hmm.
He's really not too bad. Now, he's not a defender, a pure defender, but he will track back. We could trust him to maybe do a little bit of the defending in that sense. I've heard talk about, and this, not to disagree, with all due respect, a lot of people say get Baptiste, get Alesi in there, or Harrison Ashby. I mean, I think this is one of those places where we just have to trust Moyes, right? Because these guys who are playing in our reserves are playing it probably about a
really
the
only legitimate. I mean, not to say that no one's opinion on it isn't legitimate, but I think in reality, the only legit shot of like someone coming through the academy to like take a spot, and I'm for it 1,000,000% is Okaflex for Yarmolenko because he clearly does not.
Because Yarmolenko doesn't want to be here anymore. The problem is.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think he showed that against Kidderminster with his reactions and everything, and him just kind of being a stroppy little bastard. And
well, Yarmolenko, a lot of people on Twitter have said, well, his country's about to be invaded. That's a legitimate concern. Don't get me wrong. He was like that before this, though. Do you know what I mean? He's been like this for a long time. I would love for Okaflex to step in. I'd love for Sonny Perkins to get a run out.
And I think the infuriating thing is that we all know that like at this point in time, they can definitely offer us more on the wing than Yarmolenko can.
But I mean, here's the problem, though. Can they? I mean, you would think yes. Yarmolenko is terrible.
Like this is the thing. What are they gonna like? What is Yarmolenko gonna do that they can't do? They're gonna press better. They're faster. Yarmolenko's got a few tricks up his sleeve.
But these guys are playing this reserve league they're playing in is basically like a League One level. All right, it's a big jump from the under 23s to the Premier League. It's a really remember Mipo last season against Manchester United in the FA Cup. He just wasn't ready. Everybody begged to see him; he just wasn't ready. And I don't want to get into a situation. Now, sometimes you get a Ben Johnson who steps in, and he's ready. Declan Rice was ready. But I think you really have to trust the manager and the academy coaches on this because everybody wants to see the kids, and I do too. But the worst thing you can do is toss one of these guys in there, toss an Alesi in there, or an Ashby, or Moyes, and have him concede 4 goals.
Moyes needs to be realistic and tell either Perkins, Chesters, or Okaflex, who can fill in for Yarmolenko, listen, you're not going to do worse than this guy. Don't give a shit about how you played because you're gonna most likely play better than Yarmolenko ever has.
I agree. I think the problem is I think the issue is Yarmolenko, right? He's the problem. Yeah.
Yes.
Part of my thing is like Yarmolenko showed this week that he's not up to League 6 standard.
No, you're right.
He couldn't do anything against a League 6 team.
Which
That's
they
not
literally,
League
which
1.
they literally
That's
are.
like 4 divisions down from that.
I follow Chelmsford City because I live in Chelmsford, Mass. I follow Chelmsford City, and they're in the National League South, which is the same level as that Kidderminster are in. It's regionally Kidderminster in the north and Chelmsford City are in the south. So I watch some of the highlights. I don't really watch the games live, but I watch some of the highlights and stuff like that. And those are part-time footballers. I mean, these are guys with other jobs.
Yeah.
These are dudes who are not super duper far ahead of a Sunday league player. I'll tell you. I mean, you could probably you could get a group of guys of NPSL players here in this country and probably have a competitive match. Potentially, because again, these are part timers. And yes, you're right, Cameron. He wasn't good enough against a bunch of part timers. So you would think Okaflex would be better. My only thought is that if he's really not ready, that Moyes doesn't want to put him in there and have him be, humiliated basically, and set him back, however long that would set him back in his progress. All these guys we thought, remember, Connor Coventry. I mean, where is he? Reese Oxford. I'm trying to think of.
Apparently, Connor Coventry's first 3 matches he's played for MK Dons has been really, really good.
Have they? Well, I hope so because he's like 24 now, isn't he? I mean,
controversial opinion, but sorry, go ahead.
No, keep on, Cameron. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like listing off those players, the one that comes to mind is Tony Martinez, who is now playing for Porto in the Champions League and actually doing quite well, I have to say.
Tony Martinez is?
Yeah.
Okay, he's 21. Connor Coventry's 21.
Turning 22 in March, 25th.
Okay, so he's 21. Okay, but this is the time, though. You know what I mean? Like Declan Rice is 22. Ben Johnson's, 22 or 3. It's time to make the move. If you don't make the move by the time you're 22, 23, you're not going to make it. You're just not. I think that's the way it is in a lot of sports. That's basically, Lucas, that's like a rookie year in the NFL, right? You'd be 22, 23 years old. I mean, if you go through your 4 years of college.
My counterpoint would be people like Jamie Vardy and Mikel Antonio, and to a certain extent, Jared Bowen, who didn't kind of kick on from non-league until he was a little bit later in like kind of that 23, 24 range. So, I mean, like things like that are out there. And
Moyes does have an obsession with Yarmolenko that I do not understand. I don't get it. I know he likes experienced players. He likes older players. But what he sees in this guy, I just don't know.
But that's like the whole point with Okaflex. Like, there is no way. Like, genuinely, I'd rather have Connor Coventry playing right winger than Yarmolenko, and I'm being dead serious.
I would too. I mean, I would too.
I'd rather have Mark Noble playing right wing.
There has to be something that Moyes does not see in these younger players, unless he just has a bias, an inherent bias against it that he can't get over. There's something that isn't good enough because he can't. The guy's an experienced manager. He's been a very good manager for us. He was a good manager at Everton. You can't possibly look at Yarmolenko and say, yeah, this is acceptable. This is good enough. I mean, he has to know how bad he is. He has to know. So there must be something about these other guys that's holding him back. So I don't know what, but something.
I think it's locker room politics. Yarmolenko is the highest paid player on the team.
That is just so unbelievable.
If you literally never play the highest paid player on the team, everybody who's playing above him, even whether they're on $5,000 a week or $25,000 a week or $50,000 a week, are going to look at the guy making $150,000 a week and going, "I'm playing. He's not. We need to renegotiate my salary."
Well, they're going to say that anyway, because when he does play, he's so bad. I mean, how could you possibly look at Yarmolenko and say that he justifies his salary? That's crazy. I mean, that's nuts. He doesn't justify his salary. He doesn't do anything. He's useless. Except for that one goal against Chelsea. But yeah, no, I know what you're saying. He makes a lot of money, and so they're going to be like, all right,
Put him on the pitch.
He should be on the pitch, right? And who
Yeah.
knows? Who knows? Listen, I mean, maybe David Sullivan's getting kickbacks from him or something. I mean, you know what I mean? I don't know. That's out of thin air, obviously, but nothing would surprise me. David Sullivan, to me, see, I use the Bill Clinton rule on him. You could say anything about Bill Clinton, and I'd believe it. I think Bill Clinton is capable of almost anything in the spectrum of good and evil. especially evil, maybe, but. David Sullivan, it's the same way. You tell me it's Robert Sullivan, I'd be like, yeah, I can believe it. So anyway, this obsession with Yarmolenko, I don't get it. Now, I do. Some of the defenders, on the other hand, Langelo looked good to me in that Dinamo Zagreb match. Ashby, I thought, was superb. The problem is they're not really center backs. I think Baptiste is a center back. I think Alesi's a center back. And we really need center backs at the moment. So I don't know. I've just cautioned everybody always about the kids, because you just even some of them have good starts and then they fall off a cliff. You just don't know what you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
I
think the person that's actually probably going to take Yarmolenko's place, given kind of the contract situation and everything, is probably Dan Chesters. Which that's actually
interesting.
Like 100% okay with that.
Interesting. I forgot about him. Yeah, that's right. I even thought about him. Why Gary's being OCD? What is this all about? Oh, it's behind you. Gary, if that's bothered you, do not look behind me. Don't look behind me. This room is a mess, and it's going to be a mess for a long time to come. So I don't know how you're watching this with all this going on back here, if you're bothered by the globe on his light fixture. Yeah, I mean, sure, why not? I think, yeah, the guy is just
it's mostly even.
That would have been my same response.
I agree with this. I'd rather have him at left back than Masuaku too, Neil, because Masuaku's not a left back and he's not a defender and he can't defend. Masuaku to me is just a backup winger. That's all he is, and he's okay. He's a wing. He's a cover on that left wing. That's all he is to me. I just can't think of him as anything else. Yeah, Langelo. I mean, Langelo looked good. Again, though, I don't mean to be down. I'm just saying Dinamo Zagreb again. That's not a Premier League level club. It's not. It's not. So. Oh, okay, that makes more sense. If it's an OCD thing, then he shouldn't look at my room at all. But if it's an electrician thing, well, I can understand that. That makes a degree of sense. Anyway, I don't know. So, do you guys have you seen any? Do we know about Zouma playing against Leicester? I mean, I saw one tweet that said that there was a report in the Sun, so take that with a grain of salt, that he wouldn't play. That's all I've seen, and I don't know how many other updates. So, I
would say I would be more shocked than Tuesday if he didn't play on Sunday. I just think it doesn't make any sense. Like, if you were gonna not play him, you do it Tuesday. So, like, and clearly we've already given off the message that, like, we're just stone cold bastards. We're gonna do what we want.
Personally, I hate to say, honestly, I would sit him out. I would sit him out just to punish him a little bit. Do you know what I mean? And it punishes us too. I get that.
Just like as West Ham, for as long as we've been supporting them, and just with me, it's like no matter what we do, we're always gonna lose. Like, we're never gonna win anyone over.
They hate us no matter what. I know.
Yeah. So, like,
it's true.
Like, true. If we go with the mindset on, like, oh, we're gonna sit them on Sunday and maybe that'll make us look good. No, it won't, because we're West Ham.
It won't make us look good. But I mean, I do have. I know this sounds weird. I do feel as though we need a little bit of justice for the cat. You know what I mean? Like a little sense of, like, I don't know. Well, I mean, Zouma needs to feel a little pain, not literally, but I mean, figuratively. He needs to understand he can't do that stuff anymore, and I think he does. But he needs to need a little, I mean, I can't, if my kids do something, if I tell them not to do something and they do it, I don't want to punish them. I never want to punish my kids because it's not fun. I don't like it. But you can't just let them get away with anything. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise,
either way, I don't.
They do more and more and more.
Either way, I don't think any one of us will be like if Zuma doesn't play on Sunday. I'm not gonna throw a fit and rage.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll pretty much understand why, but I just feel like the damage has been done.
I mean, if he plays on Sunday, I won't be upset. I won't be surprised. And I do think that this will all blow over eventually, and it may not even take that long because, quite frankly, some other footballer will do something worse, and the attention will turn. This is a good question. Do we have? I mean, generally,
yes, but anything West Ham, Premier League, I personally shop on .co.uk sites.
I do. I shop from the club store.
Like that kit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have bought stuff on eBay in the past. But I'd say these days, pretty much 100% of what I buy is from the club store. It is because it's authentic. Now I'll often wait until it goes on sale. I'll buy in like May at the end of the season. I do that all the time. When they do 75% off shirts or whatever. But I don't. On the one hand, I don't want to give my money to Gold, Sullivan, and Brady, but on the other hand, it is a way of supporting the club. I don't own a season ticket, obviously. I'm not a member of the club for obvious reasons. There's no reason to do that, really. I did it in the past, and it had no benefit at all. So, you spend a little money in the club shop, and it tosses a little bit into the transfer kitty, hopefully. Of course, there is no transfer kitty when we don't buy anybody. So maybe that's a moot point, but eBay or the club shop, and yeah, that's pretty much it. You can't find a lot of stuff elsewhere. You can't find a lot of stuff. Classic shirts you can find in some places, but if you want a current West Ham shirt, it's hard to find, and actually, it can be more expensive.
And even memorabilia and signed stuff, we gotta look overseas for that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You got to look overseas for that. Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
Like I would say I have 3 or 4 kits that I've bought from the same guy on eBay who lives in Ukraine.
Yeah. Kids are real Scots, but I just have more of a Scottish heritage. But yeah, I got a little bit of that. I'm a little bit cheap like that too. Yeah, I mean, it's a way I can support the club. All right, I can support the club. We do our broadcast. Hopefully, we bring in some.
It makes more sense for you Brits to not do it opposed to us.
Well, they have this great site that sometimes will come out with the shirts, and it'd be like £15 for a shirt. I can't remember, Eminem Direct or something like that. I've seen it on Twitter.
Sports Direct.
It's not Sports Direct because that's Mike Ashley's thing, I think.
No, Eminem Direct sounds right. Yeah.
Eminem Direct, I think, is what it's called. They had the black and gold shirt on last season, super cheap, but they don't ship to the U.S. So Rebecca actually was nice enough to offer to have me ship it to her, and then she would send it to me. But by the time I went to do that, it was sold out. So anyway, but sometimes they'll have them on for like 15 or 20 pounds, like 30, 40 bucks. You know what I mean? You can't even buy a regular T-shirt for that here anymore. So I don't know what a sport is. I don't actually know what that is. Do you know what is that? Do you know what that is? Is it gross?
No, I have no idea. I can Google it. Give me a
Cameron,
second.
do you know what it is? He's not saying anything.
I'm Googling it right now.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Oh, it's that little bag that's in front of the kilt.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of dope. I'm not gonna lie, I like that.
What's new pussycat? Yeah. Cat scratch fever. We need to get a little cat scratch fever going. A little nooge, a little cat scratch fever. That would do it. That's I'm
a big kilt guy. I'd wear a kilt.
I've never worn a kilt, but I got to tell you, look at this. Look, see, Wally knows what we're talking. I've never worn a kilt, but I would actually not mind.
The King of Prussia has to own one.
King of Prussia has to. I would not mind trying a kilt because, to be honest, they look pretty comfortable, and you don't you got nothing going on under there. It's all you're like swinging free under there. And I know this for sure because I used to work with a Scottish guy, well, a lot of Scottish guys. One of the Scottish guys I worked with in Paris years ago at a party left no doubt there was nothing under the kilt. Made it very clear that there was nothing under the kilt. So, hey, I appreciate that, Gary. That's really nice. That's really nice. I appreciate that. Well, I'll tell you what. We just did. We just did this. We just did this. Renewed these and got them for the boys. So, except for my mother who hasn't done hers, but my wife and my boys and I now have current working, renewed, up to date U.S. passports. So one of these days, yeah, we'll get over there. We'll get the boys over there. It's going to take some time. It's going to save a little bit of money. House is falling apart a little bit. Got to fix that first. But then after that,
we're going to Seville.
Yes, in May. Yes, you go ahead and make a non-refundable ticket to go to Seville in May for the Europa League final. But geez. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff going around. I don't really entirely. How can they keep? Oh, those royal families, Neil. They were all married to each other. They were all married to cousins and brothers and sisters and stuff. You know how they were. They're not pure like us Americans and Australians. They're not of pure bloodline. We're well bred.
Nobody gets out of it scot-free.
No, they're all entangled over there. You know how they are. All right. So, believe it or not, my voice is starting to go, which is a problem because it hasn't been doing that the last couple of weeks. But, well, there you go. Look at that. Oh, my wife hates Renaissance fairs. My wife she has a PhD in medieval theology. She's a medieval scholar, and she just does not like Renaissance fairs, as you might imagine. Not a huge fan, but my friend I grew up with used to work at one every summer, and down in Waxahachie, Texas, she went to Scarborough Fair and worked there every summer, and that was pretty fun. I went there a few times. That was pretty good. I didn't ever wear a kilt though, and of course the requisite E on the end of fair if it's a Renaissance fair, obviously. Otherwise, it doesn't count. Yeah. He is multi-talented. Wally's got a little bit of age even on me, so he remembers some stuff that I don't remember. He's probably a big fan of cats.
He's seen some shit.
This I know is not a metaphor. That's an actual thing that you do. Yeah, I'd be weeks in traction if I tried to do that. Yeah, this is what okay, Wally, tell us. What do you got going under there? Do you are you swinging low, sweet chariot, which is more of an English thing, I guess. Or yeah, okay. Well, there you go. Of course, yeah. This is why Scots guys are so chill. Like I find them pretty chill. I found the chillest guys when I lived in Europe, like the most laid back guys, the Irish guys. The Irish guys.
They were just drink and have a good time.
They were just cool. Okay, but like there's this like here in Boston, you have the stereotype of Irish guys get drunk and fight. These guys didn't fight. They just like most of them were more into herbal remedies than they were into drinking. Most of them were stoners that I knew, and that they were just like super chill all the time. Really good dudes actually. So
back when I used to work in hotels, there was a contingent of Irish guys that came over to stay because they came to the U.S. like probably once a month or so with their company and everything. And they fast became drinking buddies of mine because when they first came in, they were looking for like a good pub to drink at and watch the matches and that sort of thing. And I sent them over to my local, and then like I'd get off of work and then go over there, and then they'd be there. And I mean, those guys were just absolutely phenomenal. They were some of my favorite guys to drink with.
They're just like they're cool. They're chill. You know what I mean? They're the guys, the Irish guys I knew were kind of soft spoken. And but I do remember one night we were in a big group and we were at a Chilean restaurant in Paris. I don't know where that comes from, but anyway, there was this woman I worked with, and she was actually Scottish, and she was moving back to Scotland, and we threw her a big going away party, and like 40 people, huge, filled a whole room of this big restaurant, and the English guys got a little drunk and started singing some English, football songs. And then the Irish guys started up. But see, when the Irish guys sing, they don't. Their stuff is dark. Their stuff is about like oppression. You know what I mean? Like people being executed, and it got real dark with the Irish
By
guys.
the rising of the moon, by the rising.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about history. You know what I mean? It's very like it got a little dark, and then it turned out that Anna, this woman, didn't move after all. She stayed in Paris, so we had the party for nothing. But it was a good time. It was a fun night out. Yeah, yeah. What is it? A baked potato? Yeah. 7-course. Oh, that's 7-course Irish meal. A baked potato and a 6-pack of Guinness. That's all right. Yeah. As long as 6 courses are Guinness. Yeah, I don't blame you. And Neil says no, it's just 7 pints. Yeah. Yeah, that's not unlike what you get. It's not like what you get here. All right, so let's get some predictions for Sunday. It's Sunday. It's Sunday at 11:30 Eastern time. So that's an late afternoon game in England. That's what?
It's pre-gaming for the Super Bowl at that point.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
God,
listen.
yeah.
Sunday is going to be a tremendous day of sports, right? Because it's 6. If I'm not mistaken, I think there should be more Six Nations matches, right? Rugby, because Six Nations started last weekend, so it should carry on through March. But I don't know if they play them every week or every 2 weeks these days. Anyway, Six Nations Rugby, which is fantastic. And then we'll have West Ham, and then we'll just transition right into the Super Bowl. So, yeah, it's going to be a good day. It's going to be a good day. Good day to be, inside watching games. Ken's got a 2-2 draw. Wally says we're going to win. Lucas, what do you think is going to happen on Sunday?
I just have like two different minds because now
I
the
do too.
whole
I don't.
Zuma
Yeah.
thing's in my head. If I had to put my money on it, I think Zuma plays. But
I think he does too.
assuming he plays, I'm gonna go 3-2. If Diop plays, 4-3.
You think we're winning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will never predict us to lose.
I like American football. Come on. I grew up with it. Look, proper football is a superior sport in my mind. Don't get me wrong. I do think that, but I like American football. Can't not love it. You got the Bengals. Okay, Lucas, who do you think's going to win the Super Bowl? Rams? Yeah.
Listen, the world's going to come full circle. There's no way on the year that Big Ben retires, because he still is the youngest quarterback to win a Super Bowl. There's no way God is going to allow Joe Burrow to become the youngest quarterback to win a Super Bowl. No shot.
I got to tell you though, Lucas, Joe Burrow, listen, that dude stays healthy. He's got a career ahead of him. He does. I'm sorry, he does. The dude's really good.
I know.
The dude's really good.
He can make it to every Super Bowl for the rest of his career as long as he doesn't win.
Budgie, I played rugby when I lived in France. Now, I played mostly in Holland, where the level is much lower, so that was good for me, because in France it's a very serious sport. But yeah, I played in Holland and for a student club, and I played in France, a couple of different places. I love rugby. I really love it. In some ways, it's actually my favorite sport, believe it or not. It just isn't as universally accepted as football, so I don't, have as many places to talk about it.
My favorite foreign sport, Gaelic football.
Gaelic anything is awesome. All that curling and everything. I don't know what they're doing, but it's just kind of cool.
I just think it's sick how they have a football goal and the uprights, and you can score either way.
They can score either way. I know. It doesn't. It's It's like they got too lazy, and they're just like, whatever. Just do it. Just do it. Yeah. No, we'll talk about it. Now at a very low level. Keep in mind, okay, very low level. But I did enjoy it a lot. What do you think's gonna happen, Cameron, on Sunday?
Typical West Ham fashion. I think we're going to go 3-0 up, and then it's going to be really freaking nervy for
don't 3-0 up me.
40 minutes or so.
that's the worst thing that could happen is for us to go 3-0 up. I mean, no.
I think we'll squeak it out 3-2, but there's going to be like 6 shots on target from Leicester in the last 5 minutes.
We are away. Okay, who do you have in the Super Bowl, Cameron? Who's your Super Bowl pick?
Ooh, I honestly haven't been paying attention to the NFL like at all this year, so
It's Matt Stafford's time. It's his time.
I grew up next to Steelers fans, so I'm going to go with Lucas and say the Rams.
All right.
Positive energy. Love that.
Leicester is, we are away to Leicester. Now, here's something I didn't realize. Our women's team has been playing really well, by the way. If you haven't noticed, they're in good form. They beat Villa on the weekend. They have lost to Chelsea recently, but Chelsea are a really, really big women's team. Our women's team have climbed up toward mid-table, maybe the best season they've had in several years. So we're very proud of them. They've got players going off to internationals here pretty soon, and they're doing really well. Our women's team play Leicester at 9:00 Eastern time on Sunday morning. We play Leicester. The men play Leicester at 11:30 Eastern time. These are both away to Leicester. So I think that's very rare that you get the two teams against the same opponent in the same day. So you could watch the women's game, you could watch our game, and then you could transition into the 14-hour Super Bowl, pregame show, and then you could go all day. If we're assuming that Zouma plays, and I don't have any credible information that suggests that he won't. I like the way we match up against Leicester, and I think we can take it 2-1. I do. I know a draw wouldn't surprise me. Like what Ken said, a 2-2 draw wouldn't shock me. But I think Leicester are a little bit leaky at the moment.
And I just think we have more players that are willing to get stuck in.
I do too. I like the way we match up with them. We generally, their style is good for us. They're very aggressive. As you said, Cameron, they play a high line. All this should play into our hands. The problem with Watford is they're like us. They're a counterattacking team. They keep 10 men behind the ball. It's always going to be hard to score against a team like that. Leicester, they're more aggressive. They're in a little bit of bad form. I'm probably jinxing us, I will acknowledge, but I think we can win. And I think we will. Won't be shocked if we don't, away especially. But listen, the truth is, we need points right now. All right. This little run of matches we're going to go on here. If you haven't looked ahead at the schedule, I should be pulling this up on the screen, but I'm so used to it on my phone that I do it here. We have.
Oh, and also because of the Zuma thing and the Cats thing, no way the Bengals won the Super Bowl. Absolutely not. the energy is not there.
We have Leicester on Sunday, home to Newcastle, a very tricky fixture.
Oh, never mind. There might be justice. This is bad.
Yeah, there might
be justice.
Don't mess. Don't.
I was about to say, just because you said that, I'm gonna go with
right. Don't do karma stuff like karma stuff. Let's see here. Yeah, Peach is like, shut up, Lucas. He knows. Leicester on Sunday, a very tricky little home fixture against Newcastle on the next Saturday. An ascendant Newcastle. Another home fixture against Wolves, also ascending, coming up from behind us the week after that. And then we get to the FA Cup against Southampton in the beginning of March. Next 3 games, away to Leicester, home to Newcastle, home to Wolves. I mean, we really have to be talking about a minimum of 7 points, don't we? We have to be talking about 7 points.
Oh, for sure.
We have to. If we're not, then you could just throw Europe and all that out.
The only 2 games I feel the only game I really feel comfortable drawing is either Leicester or Wolves, because I think Wolves are a very solid team. We should be beating Leicester and Newcastle.
We should, but Newcastle brought in a lot of players, and they're in form, and they're starting to believe, and they're climbing up out of the relegation zone.
The one guy, but I mean, who
Trippier?
The hell is? Whatever.
Then again, let's not
go.
You're
scared of Chris Wood and Dan Burns.
They beat Everton, and Everton are just
Everton's dog shit.
Everton might go down. Like there is a real possibility that they're going down. They look really, really, really bad. They're only 2 points out of the relegation zone. Now, they do have some games in hand, but they don't look good at all. Newcastle have only won 3 games all season. I mean, Leicester, Newcastle, Wolves, 2 of those games at home.
Are we home or
If
away that
we're
Newcastle game?
we're home.
We're home,
home.
right? Okay.
We're home to Newcastle, and we're home to
They're our
Wolves
bogey
after
when we
that.
play
At this
them.
point, I
away.
don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, you know what's funny? I looked at it the other day, Cameron, because you mentioned that. I said on Twitter the other day, don't take 3 home points for granted. People were talking about how bad the performance was against Watford. I don't care. I mean, I care, but as long as we win, do you know what I mean? I want us to look better, perform better. But if we get 3 points, I really don't care how we get it. Our record this season, 20 points at home, 20 points away, dead even. And really, you should expect to do better at home, right? I mean, we're on 40 points, 20 home, 20 away. Even the goal differential, very similar between home and away. I think we've played better away all season than we have at home, except for Liverpool and Chelsea. Those were, great games. But we lost to Brentford. We lost to Southampton. We lost to a mediocre Manchester United team. We lost to, we drew with Burnley, Brighton. I mean, those were all at home. 5 bad results already, So I feel as though our away form is like pretty good. So that gives me some confidence that we'll play well at Leicester. Now, what happens after that when we come back home to play Newcastle and Wolves at home? I don't know. But you look at these 3 games, and I'm with Ken. If you want to be in Europe, you're getting 7 points out of these 3. Because after that, you roll into Liverpool and then down the line Chelsea, and it gets harder. As you get into March. March is a tough month.
That March, that's it for us. The rest of the way is pretty all right.
In theory, it shouldn't be too bad. Now, this is interesting. I did not know they'd never been relegated. Arsenal, I knew had never been relegated, but I did not know Everton had never been relegated. It could happen.
It's about time.
I don't love them. I don't. I mean, I don't.
They've never been relegated, but they have been promoted.
Well, what you mean they started?
Because when they started the first division before the Premier League, they were in the second division.
Oh, right. That makes sense. They started as a club in the second division.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Well, Arsenal may be the same way. They've never been relegated, but I think they had to win. Well, one of the reasons Arsenal and Spurs hate each other so much is that Arsenal bought their way into the top division after I think it was World War I, and knocked Spurs out of the top division.
Beyond many other things as well.
Beyond many other, but it wasn't. They didn't actually get promoted on the pitch. They bought their way in, and Spurs got kicked out of the top division because Arsenal just forked over some money, which sounds pretty. Not that I have no respect for Spurs either. Don't get me wrong, but both of them disgust me, frankly. But it sounds typical. Yeah, I have to. I don't want to blame Schadenfreude and all that, but I gotta admit I kind of went too Wally. If you want to know the truth, I would laugh if they did too, especially since we have so much trouble at Goodison Park. Although we won there this season, we usually have so much trouble.
1-0.
Yeah, let's do it.
Question.
Let's do the doubles. Let's do the triple. We got two trophies still on the, in the offing. Yes, go ahead.
One question I wanted to pose to you guys is I was talking with a good buddy of mine who's actually a Chelsea supporter, talking about Declan Rice and the hypothetical of if he were to go to Chelsea this summer, what would we take for him? And he posed 2 options for me, being like, which would you guys rather? And his options were like a $90 million transfer fee, or Broha, Gallagher, and $30 million.
Who's the first player?
Broha, the guy that's on loan at Southampton right now.
Right. Aside from having
the guy that we were looking at.
Yeah, aside from having a great name, Broha, I don't take either one of those. Declan Rice, you want to take Declan Rice off of us? You come up with 150 million pounds.
In your hypothetical, I'll take the money.
90 million, that's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
No, but this is a hypothetical, and you have to answer one of his 2 options. I'm taking the money.
If I had to answer one of the 2 options, I'd take the money. But it's not enough money.
That's interesting because I actually said the 2 players plus 30 million.
I mean, it's not bad. I still think, unhypothetically speaking, I still don't get the whole Chelsea link because I really think he resents them.
Yeah,
and that's not even being biased. There's been many clips where like there will be Chelsea fans like asking for autographs and stuff, and he's just like, no.
I think it's going to be Manchester City. I don't think there's any reason for him to go to Manchester United.
I think it's
I'm not
City
sure
or
they're even
Real
going to be in
Madrid.
Europe. Yeah, Manchester United's less of a threat to me because they're not necessarily going to be in Champions League. Now, if they are, it's different.
And
But
Chelsea are going to have to offload at bare minimum 3 midfielders.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. Ken is right about this. We're not selling to Manchester
Actually,
United.
no,
let's be
4 if
honest.
you want to include Ross Barkley.
Yeah, we're not selling to Manchester United. We're just not. I really don't think we will because
they can kiss their chance goodbye after
absolutely.
what happened.
We're not selling to them. But
yeah.
City,
Unless they want to give
No.
us £250 million.
Mhm.
yeah,
I can see us selling to City just to spite Man United.
Yeah, I sort of can too in a way. I do think
Me
he's
personally,
gonna,
out of all the Pig Six, I have the least amount of problems with City. The
I have
only
least
thing I
amount of problems
don't
with
like
the
about
fans.
them, like on the field wise, the only thing I don't like is the tactical fouling. I will never forget when we lost to them in like 2015 or 16. I'll never forget it. We lost like 5-0, and we actually played pretty decent. They like poured it
Yeah,
on us like
yeah.
towards halftime.
But
and then
Fernandinho
second half.
committed like 27 fouls in a row and didn't get
Yes,
carded.
literally like 30 tactical fouls and no yellow cards. I was like, this is the biggest monstrosity. And I'm not the biggest Pep guy, but that day I was like cursing him to the heavens.
I don't like City's owners and I don't like City's money, but the fans, the fans
And
who
the
were
and the
there,
players they have, I don't hate any of them.
I don't hate him either. No, I don't either. Except Grealish. I kind of hate Grealish, but he's new there. You know, he hasn't been there that long. The fans who go back to before the money was there are actually great fans, and they know how lucky they are. They're well aware of it, and they're not. They don't have this institutional arrogance that Manchester United fans or Liverpool fans have, or Chelsea fans for that matter. The ones who go back far enough can remember when they were in the third tier of English football, and it wasn't that long ago. It was like 20 years ago. So Manchester City fans, no problem. The owners, again, you get into human rights issues, you get into I don't like that. But the people, yeah, they're fine. They're fine. Yeah, I mean, this is really true. I mean, this is what they were. They really were. And they know that. They
Were literally not even 25 years ago. They were pretty. I think they were playing Grimsby Town.
They were third tier. I mean, I want to say in the early 2000s. So I mean, that's listen. I mean, What I'm saying is, I can remember, like, as a supporter of English football, when they were a third tier club. It's not like history for me. It's like when I was actually watching. I can remember them being a third tier club. And of course they were in the championship for a long time. So yeah, I mean, their fans are okay with me. Their fans they get it. The new ones, that's different. But the old ones who go back to the days, when they were struggling, they get it. They know. So I don't have a big problem with them. They were Division II in the 80s, yeah, and they were
second tier in 01, 02.
And you got to remember, you keep in mind, they were Division II at a time when
2001, 2002,
and they were struggling. Keep in mind when Manchester United were winning the Premier League every season.
Mm-hmm.
When they were crosstown rivals, won the Premier League pretty much every season. Manchester City were either fighting relegation or trying to get promoted from the championship. So
the year they got relegated, they had 34 points.
Did they? Well, we stayed up on 35 in the second Zola
and
season.
they didn't start dominating until Roberto Mancini took the helm, and that was 2010, 2011 was the first time they reached 70 points.
Right.
And
that's when they got the money. They got the money. Yeah.
And from there on out,
they got the money. But their fans on Twitter, they know. And I've met a few in person. They're fully aware of how lucky they got. They're fully aware that they
and that's really like all
won the lottery. They won the lottery.
Like as a West Ham fan, we can all relate to this because we're in America. That's really like all we can ask for. Like if you're gonna support Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal, Man United, especially,
yeah,
like just at least be aware, like, how fortunate you are. Like, don't get me wrong, Man United have been absolute shit this season. But at the
Yeah,
end of the day,
they're not. Yeah,
you are Man United, and if you
right.
want a player, you want players,
They're going to get them.
you have the money.
Yeah.
You have unlimited money. Liverpool as well. You have unlimited
Liverpool,
money.
Manchester United, Chelsea, Manchester City, Arsenal not so much, but those four in
Arsenal
particular.
Arsenal can buy any player they want. It depends
Well,
on the players. They don't want to go there.
we know that the top six, and including Tottenham, the six biggest clubs, wealthiest clubs, can buy almost any player they want. Arsenal and Tottenham may not have quite the purchasing power of the other four, but they're close, and the gap between them and the other four is much smaller than it is between them and the
As
rest
you're
of them.
aware that you support a fortunate club as an American fan, that's really
But see,
all
they
I can
don't.
ask.
They
Oh, yeah.
don't. The problem is they're not self-aware. They don't get it.
90% of them, yes.
90% of them
So-
think they complain and they talk about how painful it is. I'm like, you don't. And I'm gonna tell you something else.
You don't know what pain is.
They don't know what pain is in a way. And let's be fair. Let's be fair. We don't really know what pain is either in a way, because we've gone down, we've come back up. But I mean, think about, and I know not many Americans would do this, granted, but think about if you're a lifelong Kidderminster Harriers fan. Think about if your dad took you to Kidderminster every weekend, and that's what you grew up with, and and they're literally in the
True.
6th division. Think about if you support Portsmouth or Sunderland or Plymouth, or these clubs that were in the top couple, Oldham Athletic, that were in the top couple of divisions within the last 20 years, and now they're just floating around in the morass of lower league football. I mean,
Yeah.
it's yes, they were. This is very true, and so were the Everton fans. And Spurs didn't play that day, so we didn't have many of them.
Same in DC. Oh
They
my
were-
God.
they were
That was
terrible.
when Felipe Anderson and Yarmolenko scored the goals 2-1, and we beat them, and we got Jose sacked.
Oh, that was a great
Mhm.
game. We had a terrible game in Boston. We lost to Everton. One of those Pellegrini specials where we got
They were still
close to
singing glory, glory, and how many trophies they won when they were down 2-0. It's like what the fuck?
trophies they won
Well,
that
so
they don't even remember
actually-
because they weren't fans when they won those trophies. Do you know what I mean? Because as Americans don't remember the trophies, they just know that
Yeah.
they won them at some point. So, yeah.
But so actually, funny story. At the pub I hang out at and watch the matches, they actually have a Kidderminster Harriers scarf that they've had for years hanging
Wow.
below one of the TVs. And so it was a massive joke when we drew them and everything. And ultimately, it's a Liverpool pub. It's called Penny Lane Pub here in Richmond. Owners of Scouser. They've got a Liverpool official supporters group and everything that hangs out there. That, I mean, they probably pull in 20 to 30 people every single match. It's an impressive following.
Right.
So I will say, quite frankly and quite selfishly, if Declan Rice goes to Liverpool, I won't necessarily be mad, because I can probably drink for free on his exploits from there on out for years to come. So,
I mean, at least there'd be that. If he has to stay in England, I guess Manchester City.
If you supported Liverpool before Mo Salah, I have somewhat respect for you.
Yeah, I mean, even then, like have they ever been relegated? Have they ever been in a relegation battle? I mean, not within living memory. It's the same for Manchester United. I mean, West Ham, we've been in relegation battles. We've gone down. We've come back up. We've suffered, but then we haven't suffered as much as, again, if you're like a Sunderland guy, I mean, God bless you. The whole club falls up. What about Barry Football Club? Just ceased to exist. Is gone. Or how about who was it? Was it Wigan, whose owner bet against them, like bought the club and bet against them to make money off of them going down? It's like literally the plot of Major League. It's the plot of Major League. I just wanted to mention one other thing that I almost forgot about. There was a really remarkable little match in France today, French Cup game between Bergerac, Perigord, and Versailles. I used to live in Versailles, by the way. So this was a French Cup quarterfinal, and Versailles won on penalties 5-4. The reason it was remarkable, they are both 4th division clubs in France, right? Bergerac had knocked out like 3 League One clubs, including Saint-Étienne, the one I support. Fourth division in France is like super amateur. Like I'm not sure if these guys even get paid. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's not like in England where it's like League Two. It's once you get past League Two in France, you drop off a cliff. Fourth division is just a bunch of dudes running around in a park, you know.
And real quick, the last time Liverpool finished lower than 7th was 1993. They finished 8th, and ever since then, the lowest they've ever finished was 7th. And they did that 1, 2, 3 times in 25 years.
And this is what I'm talking about. Wigan, the guy literally buys the club and then bets on them to go down, and they go down, and then they go into administration.
They've never been in the second division ever.
Liverpool, that's what Arsenal have never been in. Arsenal, Liverpool, these clubs, Everton, even maybe Everton this season. But I mean, so all these suffering fans, when I hear Arsenal fans, Manchester United fans, oh, we're suffering. You're not suffering, all right? You're not. So you don't suffer the way we've suffered, and we don't suffer the way some other fans have suffered. I mean, I'll acknowledge that. But yeah, so Versailles Football Club, fourth division in France. They are now in the French Cup semifinal. After that, it would have been great if they hadn't played each other, and you know. But anyway, Bergerac made a tremendous run to the quarterfinal. It's the magic of the cup in France. I remember about 20 years ago, a club from Calais made the French Cup final, and they were literally a bunch of longshoremen. I mean, they were not really professional footballers. They were guys who might have made a stipend on the weekend to play or something like that, and they lost to Nantes in the final, and they went through like 3 or 4 top division clubs on the way. So the magic of the cup exists in France in a way that it doesn't in England, because you don't, outside of PSG, you don't have those massive money clubs, you know. So anyway, I thought that was kind of cool. And I used to live in Versailles, and I did not even know there was a Versailles football club. I played rugby in Versailles. I played for a rugby club in Versailles. I knew there was a rugby club, but I didn't know there was a football club. Anyway, but it's small, and so it's not a big surprise. All right, so yeah, I mean, I have to tell you that season of the championship, it was a fun season because, you know,
we were so good.
Right. I went into every game thinking we have a chance to win, and that just never happens. Well, these days in the Premier League, it's, you know, under Moyes, it's been a little more like that the last couple of years. But you know what it's like normally. Normally, every weekend I go into the match thinking, well, let's just try to keep the goal differential down, you know. So when we were in the championship, I was like, hey, we can win these games. We should win every week, you know. Of course, we still barely got promoted, but we got promoted, and that's the point. Yes, Birmingham were pretty legendary for their behavior, from what I understand. All right, for the record, I think the Rams will win the Super Bowl too. I don't really care, except that I have nothing. Unlike Lucas, I have no emotions whatsoever toward the Bengals. They don't mean anything to me.
I fucking hate them.
I know you do, and that's understandable. I happen to love Los Angeles as a city, and the Rams have never won the Super Bowl as the Los Angeles Rams. They only won it in St. Louis, which is awful. So I would.
Fuck Steve Kroenke.
Oh, is it Steve?
Whatever.
The owner's name, Mark? Stan. It's Stan, isn't it? Stan.
No, but Kroenke's the one that.
Stan.
Wasn't Kroenke the one that moved him?
I think Georgia Frontier moved him. I think he moved him back. I think the woman who was owned Georgia Frontier, something like that. I think she moved him. Oh, here we go. Liverpool, we're going to say division. Well, there you go. I mean, that is going pretty far back. That's going pretty far back. They didn't come back until the Beatles were popular. This, I'm not a fan. Just briefly put.
I love the MLS.
Some people are. That's okay. People have different opinions.
Hey, we're building the brand. Shaqiri, Douglas Costa are coming over. We're building the brand.
That's great. Okay. I want promotion relegation, and I want a proper something closer to a proper football season. I know it's hard to play in the winter. All right, in Minnesota and
it's Stan Kroenke.
Well, whatever.
Steve, whatever.
It doesn't matter. I know it's hard. We saw that U.S. national team game in Minnesota when it was literally 2 degrees outside, 3 goals, 2 degrees. That was rough. All right. So I know it's hard to play a proper August to May season in the United States when we have places that are very cold. Okay, that doesn't bother me as much. Proper promotion relegation, some sort of proper league structure, and maybe I'll start watching MLS. Seriously. It's not all about the quality. It just doesn't feel like football to me. It's a franchise sport like everything else. That's why I don't like it. That's how I feel.
Honestly, I've just been following Jack Collison's coaching exploits in the MLS, and that's about it. So
I agree, and Jack is a good guy. He's been on our show. I've met him. Tim's met him. Tim actually knows him. Actually knows him. So yes, anything Jack does, I'm a fan of. I'm a huge fan of Jack Collison. He's a really good dude, also. Anyway, yeah. All right. So I think it'll be hopefully by Sunday afternoon or Sunday night we'll have 3 points for West Ham and a first Super Bowl title for the Rams in Los Angeles. But I'm much more worried about West Ham than I am about the Super Bowl.
And hopefully
not worried about the Super Bowl at all, really.
Hopefully, we know where things stand with certain things.
Hopefully, know where things stand. Yeah. All right. So
because I'm one of those people that like. I mean, it kind of relates to this. I'm just one of those people like. I'd rather you just say you hate me than be fake. So I'm hoping like West Ham either sticks to like we don't give a shit what the outsiders think. It only matters what we think.
Right.
That's my take.
I do think that there's been so much overreaction to all this. I think the club could have handled it better. I think the hyperbole about it and the overreaction has been, and the hypocrisy have been outrageous. So yeah, I think it's turned people back. There's a backlash to the backlash to some extent. Anyway, we'll see what happens. So hopefully we'll be back with you again next week. Hopefully on Wednesday night. We'll see when we try to do the show anyway. So Lucas and Cameron, my friends in the beautiful Mid-Atlantic region of the United States. How far is Richmond from the coast, Cameron? Is it on the coast, Richmond?
So our thing about Richmond is our coin phrase here is we're about an hour and a half from the mountains, an hour and a half from the beach, and about 2 hours from DC. So
okay, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. No, that's nice.
Appalachia.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. That's cool. All right, so yeah, thanks for being with us. Everybody in the chat room was great tonight. We had great viewers all the way from beginning to end, and we will. I'll let you know when we come back. Check out. We should have a post-game show with Chris and Irish Tommy after the game on Saturday. And yeah, until then, take care of each other and your pets and your loved ones. And
tell them you love them.
Tell them you love them. Come on, you Irons. You don't have to love them as much as you love West Ham, though.